Yes. Hello. How's it going? I hope
Doing okay. I hope. Oh snap! Oh snap! It's happening. It's the show. The show is on right now. It's live on the platforms. If you are watching this in the replay, well, you missed the live. You missed it. I mean, yeah. I guess you have to like do some research and see when it's actually happening. But that's a whole nother issue. That's a whole nother issue. It's good to see you guys. If you're paying attention to this, I appreciate you. That's hardcore, dude. You gave me your attention, and that's like it's like more than money. It's like worth more than anything. So thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Let's just like jump right into it. Everybody's kind of freaking out about this story. This yeah, everything's just going in slow motion these days. This guy I guess was in the administration and then was not. He got ousted, and I guess that's giving it more credence what he's saying here, that this is really going to happen. But it's all about this narrative, these storytelling techniques, right, that they use, where they'll roll something out and then right, it all has to go through waves. So we've had this first wave. It was definitely pretty scary. We realized that we have no agency over our own lives, regardless of who you are and what your stature is and how much money you've made over the years. None of that matters. That basically the agenda will just power slash kick through anything that you have built. And right, they may even take down a couple of their own just to make it look more convincing, right? So that was the first sort of initial wave, and now everybody's sort of getting out of their house again, basically unilaterally. Almost everybody's been able to get out of their house, been able to get out of quarantine now for the summertime. But it is a very strange, uneasy feeling, like it's that door is just gonna slam shut again sooner or later. And these stories are already starting to come out. Just more predictive programming, like it always is. That things are gonna go real bad in the winter time. And this phrase keeps getting passed around: darkest winter, the darkest winter. And I was reading something or listening to something the other day, reminding me that this was in that exact phrase. That was the name of the pandemic exercise that happened around September 2001. Something that they've been thinking about for a while. I guess that's what I'm trying to say here, is that none of this stuff is really, nothing this large on this scale is going to be left to chance. it's going to have been studied front to back because, well, that's what all that government cash is for, right? I've been reading this book about DARPA and the beginning of DARPA, the founding of the whole thing, and well, this is basically their entire bread and butter, right? To go into a society, and at least at the beginning of their service, they were going into more foreign countries. But obviously, they've honed these weapons over the past, right? Whenever DARPA got started, and that this whole idea of psychologically analyzing a population to be able to figure out how they tick and therefore be able to manipulate them a little bit easier. All of that got started, I guess, in the 60s or so. And right, it's been quite some time now since the 60s. And, well, what do you expect? They got a lot of knowledge. They got a lot of understanding on how people work, the reactions that they make to certain news or events or ideas, and right now they can create sort of a wave of human emotion that you can ride up and down like a roller coaster, and they have a pretty good idea about what's going to happen to your brain when you ride that roller coaster. And all they need to do is set it up properly and, right, input experience, output exactly the response and mindset that they require for the next phase. And then they can sort of just ratchet us up from there. And yeah, no, I got to be honest. This whole thing is also making me a little worried about the winter. What is actually going to happen when, right, when food gets a little more scarce, money gets a little more scarce, and everything's cold again. People start getting sick. They're getting sick in their houses because they've been inside for an entire year. Some people and have just horribly suppressed and weakened immune systems. Yeah, there's no real possibility of right not having a major increase in people dying in the winter time. So yeah, it definitely is it's a little troublesome, but at the same time, it is part of the roller coaster ride, fake truth that is constantly being pumped out at us. So, right, I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens this winter. But this story is definitely making the rounds in a serious way. And it's these two sort of competing stories that I guess are the big talking points today. Right, that Darkest Winter story, and also now here Flynn's lawyer writing this letter. There's just a bunch of nonsense around Flynn, and yeah, I guess that he did do it or didn't do it. Right, it's just it's very like legal soap opera kind of thing. It's this kind of news is really more for a different demographic, I guess, than us conspiratorial minded people. This story, I'm assuming, is to bring you back into the previous Matrix, where it was just all about well, that orange guy, he's super annoying and a monster, and I remember him from WWF, so I wanna smash him with a chair. And this whole story with the perjury and the DOJ and right what Flynn said and what he didn't say, all of that back and forth nonsense. Right, I sort of assume is also just all like a script, all play acted, and I guess it's just not my demographic, honestly. Like for some people, I guess if you were a lawyer and you were into all this kind of stuff, you would be fascinated by these characters, right? And I mean, I don't know, I know all these names: Eric Holder, McCabe, Loretta Lynch. Those are all the Obama era types. But this is stirring up all of that Rushgate. What happened with the Trump administration, and right, trying to get you back into those little nooks and crannies of what he did or didn't do or did or didn't say. Why, right? When in reality, it's just a focusing of the lights. Like presidents have been doing way, way, way worse stuff than the current president, right? That's just sort of part and parcel for having that job. And I assume once you actually have that job, that you don't actually get to make any of your own decisions, even if you're the T man. And yeah, we're gonna look at this show, Dispatches from Elsewhere, and I think it sort of proves the point here that I'm talking about. Now, so much about this I don't even know. What are the words to use? What words do you use when you talk about any of this stuff? The disease that is flying through the air, apparently, right? So much of this is about changing your behavior and adjusting. Yeah, like I'm saying, taking the entire pool and taking entire populations, and then sending out a laser beam of information, be that there's a deadly virus or right, whatever other laser beam. Some things are a little more focused, like that Flynn laser beam. That's only going to hit certain people, but the virus run is really it's a pandemic. It hits everybody. You can't really move out of the pandemic laser beam at this point. It is covering everything, right? And yeah, just like with any of those beams, they will be attempting to adjust your behavior permanently, and then also have you behaving in this new way, adjusting other people's behavior. And then it sort of pandemics out from there. Now, yeah, and so much of this is right. We're in sort of a Handmaid's Tale situation where you're starting to get more and more worried, starting to get more and more scared about what you say, how loud you say it, if you say it out in public, and just talking in general is been made a lot more difficult, especially with all the face masks and everything. You can't really see that person's expression or just read their lips or any of that kind of stuff. And so much about this whole push is about silencing people and just getting them to chill out about everything. And this is just horribly symbolic to me, right? Loud talking could leave coronavirus in the air for up to 14 minutes. So you better not be doing any loud talking outdoors. Don't get all gesticulated, the kind of stuff that you would do maybe in a protest or some sort of large gathering where you're talking very loudly and forcefully. That, right, if you chill out and you just talk quietly, then you're not gonna spread the virus. But if you're getting out there yelling and protesting and shouting at people, then you're not going to spread the virus, right? It seems ridiculous, and you can go and read the article. It's like also ridiculous. They're like, this is done in a lab and has no validity in the real world, right? Because this was just done in an airless box that had right. So then obviously, yeah, it's gonna float there in this windless, airless science box that they put it in. But the effect is gonna still be the same on your mind. It's the laser beam, and it's gonna make you stop talking so loudly out in public, right? And gets you more in that mindset of, oh well, we better just be quiet and stay away from everybody. Don't look into anybody's eyes because they may have the virus, right? You may actually be able to pass the virus through eye contact. I haven't actually heard that, but that's you might as well be saying that. You might as well be saying that there. And well, I just wanted to throw this in here too. Yeah, may never go away. May just be what's up. It's the corona. And the sun is always there. The sun is not going anywhere. It's just there. It exists. And I guess just like other viruses that have existed for a while on this planet, they are not planning on this actually going anywhere. And yeah, this is from 2 days ago. More fear porn from CNN, but alarming nonetheless, right? Maybe, and that's what I mean. It's like so much of this is hard to filter through your mind. Why did I use that word alarming? I didn't even read this. It just slipped into my mind like this. It is very alarming, and that's how, right? I was listening to somebody talk about how you shouldn't even like read or look at any of this stuff because you cannot protect yourself from it. It's gonna get soaked up into your mind regardless. So there's no way to protect yourself, and you're gonna get infected with this information just by looking at it. So I guess I'm willing to take that risk still at this point. It does interest me, right? But they're talking about deflation. It's already happening with gas, and it's happening in some other areas, and yeah, well, that's a whole nother issue, like set of economic problems that would be presented. Would be very problematic, right? If prices started to really drop in America for manufacturing, it might be good for a little bit, for a second there. You could buy some cheap water bottles, like I guess this lady is doing, but right, it's all of this doom and gloom, and it's like, well, what can you do? What can you do? What can you do about this kind of thing? It's hard to know, right? Should you be worried about the future, about what's going to happen this winter? Is it all just sort of not true? Because that's a classic technique to just keep you in a general state of apathy and non-action, is to just constantly be putting some story, some event 6 months or a year out from now that is going to just decimate everything and cause the collapse of society. So you should not bother with working too hard or planning anything. That's often a huge part of the agenda. Actually, is yeah, just to keep people from doing stuff. Now, speaking of doing stuff, I want to give a shout out here to Kim Adams. What's up, Kim? You're totally awesome. I appreciate you showing up and just chatting, just throwing those words out there into the ether, because yeah, I guess that's what it takes. It takes that first step. I'm out here doing this show, and in order for this thing to grow, yeah, I really appreciate your support, Kim. Thanks for sending me some articles, some newsletters. I encourage anybody watching or listening to this to follow Kim's example, because I'm telling you, even if you're worried, even if you don't want, you're like, I don't have anything to add to this conversation, I'm just on the internet. Well, that's not really true, right? If you don't type in the chat, if you don't interact with the other people that are here, I mean, I'm not gonna like yell at you or whatever, but that's just sort of that's what we've been talking about on the show all day today. Is right. That is sort of the main attempt to immobilize you, to keep you just passive and sucking down the information without like processing it. And because that's what you do when you talk about it. You had to like run it through your brain hole, and then you're sending it back out again, and all of a sudden, yeah, you've been made to think about it for a second. And even if you're just adding a YouTube comment, I mean, that's how I started this whole journey. It's just adding YouTube comments. So I mean, I just encourage you to try it out, see what happens. Even if you just type an F. Can I get an F in the chat? Maybe somebody. Anyways, I better keep running along here. I want to get to the show. Let's get to the show. So I'm gonna need my full internet from here. Can I get this here? Okay, dispatches from elsewhere is. Oh, look at that. See, it actually worked. CCU Nursing, good to see you. Good to see you. Good to hear from you. I don't think I've ever heard from you, CCU Nursing. And Tina Warner. Tina Warner, it's good to see you. It's good to see you in the chat, because now it's like, damn, these are real people. These are totally real people. They're not just numbers on my screen. It's like, oh, well, who's that? Maybe it's a bot. Maybe nobody cares about, right? I don't want to get self-deprecating, but I think it'd make you feel good. exchange with each other. Okay, so this show, if you have Amazon Prime, you can go check it out right now on Amazon Prime. It was made by AMC, which I'd have to look at the release schedule. I don't know if it was on AMC before this, and whether it just came to Amazon Prime right now, or if it was a direct release because of the schedule, because of the COVID. Yeah, but it's out now on Amazon Prime, and it's by Jason Segel. This he's from How I Met Your Mother and Forgetting Sarah Marshall and a bunch of other things. He's done generally comedy a lot, and this is he. I guess he's worked his entire life to make this show. It's just one of his first actual acting serious roles that he's done, and yeah, I gotta say he did a good job. He did a very good job. I've almost watched the whole thing, not completely, but I gotta say it's a good show. It's a good show because we're not just here to hate on the globalists. As much fun as as I have doing that, we also we want to be entertained, just a tiny bit. And well, I guess the only way I know how to entertain myself now is to watch this entertainment, but try to protect your brain hole from the evil manipulations that they're doing to it. And I think that at least I think that comes through conscious consumption of said material. So let's consciously consume some screenshots really quick here. This is a horribly symbolic show, just like all of the other shows, but it's very like meta, very, very sort of quirky and poking fun at this whole thing that we're doing here, right? Searching for the truth, looking for answers, not finding anyone that knows the answers, and then once you really find some answers, those answers being that it was all just sort of games within games, and everything was controlled opposition, basically front to back. That is the grand lesson of this show, and yeah, which is a major reason why I would encourage you to check it out, because it drops all this knowledge about the nature of our reality. So, right, and no surprise here to have this upward facing triangle here as the logo, the powerful upward facing triangle, the mountain. But we see some of the other main symbols here: the open eye and the nautilus shell with that what's that phi ratio thing, right? Just standard esoteric. Right, so a lot of it's in this weird format where this guy is just sort of like talking at you and trying to explain to you the show, and right, I don't want to give it all away. I don't want to give it all away, but let's just analyze a couple of these little details here, right? Let's just go through. It's just a couple frames here. No, say the words, "No, my friend, not you. You don't belong here. Come with me." Right? Because it's all about secret societies. That's what the whole show is about. You belong with the special ones. And then he cries. What is happening? Right? He gets sort of like diverted towards this. He like pulls the thing off of a flyer and ends up in this basement and watching this TV, and yeah, it turns out, right, nobody really checks out that flyer, but he stumbled upon a secret society, right? You were one of the special ones. You don't belong here in this regular world. You're gonna come with me. You're gonna be part of this secret society, right? And that's, if somebody actually said that to you, right, I would probably have the same reaction if somebody called me up sometime after the stream, or I don't know, gave me a sign somehow like, hey, you're cool, right? You gotta call this number, and then you're gonna be in the special group. You're gonna be in the secret group. You've always been worthy, but we were just waiting for the go ahead. Now we got the go ahead, right? I would probably cry tears of joy too. I'd be like, oh my god, I'm gonna be, right? You're gonna get all your dreams. You're gonna get to be in the movies and get rich and just be part of a big team, right? Because that's That's sort of what it feels like down here when you're not on the team. You're just like chilling, trying to get through. But that would be quite a feeling to be part one of the special ones, right? And that's definitely Jason Segel's like whole character in this show. Is just he's very emotional, but also constantly just confused and and being very awkward, basically. But it's a really good job. It's a good awkward that he does. And right, just like all of our other non-esoteric secret society-based shows, it's filled with numbers and the hidden meanings behind those numbers. Right. Here we got the quad sevens. That is it's what it does remind me is Aleister Crowley wrote one of his big giant spell books. I think is called triple. That's the full name. It's 777 and that is sort of, I guess, what's going on here. The abstraction in this show. Okay, so he met this other guy, right? This guy. And so, but it turns out that, right, it's not really a super secret society. This is more sort of based on Scientology and that sort of cult format, right? With big stage shows and a charismatic leader like this that is convincing everybody that they're going to be able to open their heart and get to the next phase or whatever, right? And that's interesting to see. Yeah, those downward facing triangles there, right? So that's the Scientology dude, and then he, right, finds a note and is like, "No, it's a trap. Those are the bad guys. Come to my house." And he goes over here, and this is sort of the other side, right? That I guess they call themselves the Elsewhere Society, and right, a la Crowley, it is very sort of Thelema, a little more crustier, a little more underground, but also right the same kind of like promises of being part of a team, being part of a club, a secret group, and also just like higher knowledge and acceptance and understanding and all that kind of stuff. So, right, Scientology versus Crowley, Thelema, those are the two sort of major ideas that are right. So, and it's all done in a sort of fanciful, fun, hilarious way, but you still realize that, yeah, no, they're directly talking about specifically in Hollywood, this gigantic cult of Scientology, which is right thousands, if not tens, hundreds of thousands of people in Scientology, and then the other side of that, this more seemingly hidden, but something that we just cannot stop talking about in this sphere of YouTube, the cult of the celebrities, the one-eyed symbolism and all of that same stuff that we just see in every single music video, TV show. Doesn't really matter what it is. There does seem to be that chosen sort of subset of Hollywood, of celebritydom, where yeah, they just seem to be in a club basically. Why are they all wearing that black and white stripes? Why are you doing that hand symbol, right? It makes you feel left out. And they're laying it all bare out in this show, right? And that's why I do encourage you to check it out. So what does he say here? Do the right thing and good things will come your way. And that's what this is all about, right? And that's Jason Segel is sort of the honest, like, you type person, even though the narrator keeps saying, oh, like, picture this person as you. It's the main question here, and it's my main question still, I guess, right? What is the deal with all this stuff? Is it real? Is there real magic? Is that a thing in this world right now? Not even like no joke, pretend. Is it real? Is there real magic? I like to think there is. I like to think so, and that's what Mr. Jason also is hoping beyond hope. The magic is real, and that this isn't all just some sort of fake play. And it's filled with these bizarre scenes of like, right, he's like supposed to break dance with this breakdancing troupe out in the rain. And another interesting thing, and just to touch on color theory for a second, this is a very so washed out, no pun intended, frame, but the main colors in this show, they add the green, so it's often red and green white, I guess, are their main color palette. But as opposed to the other cooler, sexier shows, just having red and green gives it a much like more wonky sort of celebratory, right? That's the Christmas colors. It gives it a much more sort of off balance, but also party like feel to it, which is interesting. Right. So here's a frame from the Crowley Thelema types. Right. He gets tricked into going to another place. What I don't remember, but he's like, find the agents of nonchalance, and yeah, it's again a play on the Crowley society. I'm blanking on the name of his society, but it's sort of a play on all that, right? And they're all holding this like Luciferian blue. They got these little like paddle boards that they're operating on, which is interesting, right? And he's out there, he's trying to figure out, well, which one of these guys is the real guy? I'm not sure. I'm not sure which one is the real guy. Don't do the autosave. And it's all this kind of stuff. And now cryptic radio brings you the secret of nonchalance, right? It does make you think that is there some sort of like podcast or radio? There's got to be some fantastic entertainment that gets created for the members of Thelema or this other secret group. And right, all of this whole show makes me think that this guy, Jason Segel, and everybody else is in on this whole thing. They do know that it's happening. That tons of people are in this secret club, the nonchalance or thelema or whatever you want to call it. Right? It's all just sort of reskinned here to make you feel better. But it does. I think it's all real. I think this is all just laid bare the absolute truth about how our society is organized. There's got to be like a Illuminati slash I don't even know. Yeah, what do you call them? They probably call themselves something else, something lame like this, the agents of nonchalance. So he's out there, right? But that's what he's constantly asking. Is it real? Is this real? Like, because okay, so I guess I got to give a little bit more away of it. So they right, he starts out with the Scientologists, and then gets called over to the Thelemists, and then goes back and forth, and he builds he has this team of four people, because every good show works better with sort of an ensemble. And yeah, he meets some other characters. This is, what's her name, Simone or something, and I guess she's like trans, and this is a really interesting part of the show too, because yeah, this person she's a fantastic actress. She's a very just right not in a sexually way, a very attractive person, right? And it does a lot for trans people, I think, especially if you don't, it really doesn't depend on how you stand on that issue. That's how they move this goalpost basically as well, is having really just fantastic actresses, attractive people, normalizing this whole situation, right? And I honestly don't want to comment either way on the whole thing, but it is an aspect of this show that I did find very interesting and well executed, right? And that's the constant fear here. What if it's real? I don't want to sound stupid or sound naive, and that's that's me. I mean, a lot of this stuff, I really sort of, it resonated with me. But he says it's a conspiracy. And that's what it's there's that word again, right? Trying to invalidate everything that we're working on. There it is again. Yeah, see, Kim's following along here, right? This word is just constantly there, and this is the programming. This is how people get their brain formed. And we can, right, if you're hunting along at home, yeah, you are going to see those colors in almost every single frame, because it's a well done show. We got the green, and it's a lot more subtle. I appreciate the coloring in this show, because it's not as aggressive as some of the other more recent shows, which I would argue makes it more effective. Aggressive colorists out there, right? Green, red, white. It's all there. Green, red, white. Green, red, white. Green, red, red. So they what am I trying to say? The show goes on. They're sort of protesting back and forth, but the team, right? And there they are, sort of like huddled around this table. We got an old lady and this like rich, ultra smart black dude. They're all trying to figure this out, get to the bottom of it, and yeah, they do realize that neither of these things are real. That the agents of nonchalance are not real, and that the Church of Scientology, or I forget what they call it in this show, but that's not real either. That both of those sects, those ideas, are part of an overarching plan that was masterminded by a completely different person, a different organization, and that they have, just like, right, just like the rest of it, our entire political system and everything in our lives where we do have a quote choice, that all of that has been sort of masterminded by a larger organization. And yeah, no, the what's his name, Fredwin, the black dude, he goes hard and is more aggressive about this than the other guys, and everybody else is like, "Shut up! It's probably, just go along. It's just for fun. Can we just play the game?" But here he is, right? I know what you're doing. You think that stowing me away in a broom closet will quench my unquenchable thirst for truth, and it really is hilarious. Like, the dialogue is very good. I guess I should be more aggressive. But I very much enjoyed this show. And that's right. Here they are, sort of making fun of us here on the internet. Our unquenchable thirst for truth. That's a real thing. It shouldn't really be laughed about and joked about. I think it's not hilarious. I really don't get this, and this is how good of a number they've done on everybody, because it's just so freaking illogical how everybody is these days. That if you're actually trying to look for truth, if you're actually trying to figure out the nature of your reality, that you're looked at like, well, you're wasting your time. What are you talking about? Like, just go play a video game. Just go to a party. What is all this searching for truth that you're doing? It's such a mad waste of time, bro. Where at least to me, like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, that should be the only thing that matters. We should try to get to truth, because then yeah, enlightenment and all that shit, like, you're gonna raise up to a next level of consciousness and realize that everything that you're doing now in your current state of consciousness is like a mad waste of time and super stupid. And that, right, if you could realize the truth about yourself and about the nature of our reality, that you could have a much better life, like so much better, a life that is so good that you cannot possibly even imagine it in your current state of consciousness. That's what I'm talking about. That, like, we're talking just insane levels of happiness, absurd, ridiculous levels of contentment. That's what I'm talking. That's what I want to at least try to get there. At least try. Right, but as good as the show is, right, it pokes fun at all this stuff and makes it seem silly. That, yeah, why it's all a distraction. Why would you waste your time on this game, right? And that's I'd have to take these words to heart. You're sadly mistaken if you think I'm gonna give up my unquenchable thirst for truth. It's just never gonna. I can't stop it. Maybe it's my own personal compulsion, but I'm not gonna stop it. And here's sort of the crux of the thing. I told you, there's no winning, there's no losing. Oops. The whole game is a distraction. And that's what he realizes, it's towards the end. The whole game is a distraction. The Scientologists, that's a distraction. The whole Thelema Satanists thing, that's a distraction. It may be fun. There may be some good parties. We have a good time. But the whole game is a distraction. And towards the end, yeah, that they really break that fourth or fifth wall and get into like the show business aspect of it, right? This was a casting call, and this person had to get cast here, and we had to secure this location, and then the interns fucked something up, and then right, the main team actually found the house of the producer and went over there, and things did go a little bit off the rails from the original plan, but in essence, the entire thing, yeah, it was just a game. It was just a fun game. And I think, right, if you're in a smaller town, probably not, but I think in LA that for the wealthier subset, there must be games like this where and I'm guessing you have to pay a couple $1,000 because, right, they got to rent all these locations and it's multiple different parties and in different areas, but yeah, no, some of my friends actually do play like a scavenger hunt game where you have to drive all over the city and collect stuff and get to the next stage, and you're looking for clues, and yeah, it's supposed to be really fun. It's expensive. Also, those like escape room things have become pretty hip these days, and a lot of that is out there, and I'm assuming for the richer class that there is like a hardcore, super entertaining version of that, and it may even be crafted in this way that you're supposed to stumble upon it, and then, right, you don't even know that you're playing the game, and then maybe you have to pay afterwards, or you somehow pay midway through. They trick you into paying, but yeah, that's sort of how it all shakes down, that the whole thing is a construct front to back, and that they really don't want you to see that necessarily, but that once you see it, there's nothing they can do to stop you from seeing it. And it's like with all these shows, right? That really definitely seems to be the truth that's all laid out there straight up, just like no frills, you know? But at the same time, they're also poking fun of it at it and making it seem like, right, you should it's laughable to look into any of this stuff in real life, like the evils behind these large groups. And also in the end, right, it's not worth looking into. And that's this more logical character's stance on the whole thing, that it's all a distraction, that none of it's real. But by the very end, that's the Jason Segel character, right? He does find this magical girl, and he thinks that it's all. He doesn't think, he feels it. He knows that it's all real. That you really can like pierce the veil. You can go to the other side, because that's sort of the central character in this whole show is Clara, this little girl who was able to like paint on a wall and travel to the mirror realm. And there's more of that sort of traveling between worlds idea concept that is in so many other shows. Makes me wonder really what's the play there with the parallel worlds thing. Although I think we may actually be in shifting timelines. That's a whole nother subject for another time. But what is it, right? I guess once you get to the end of this stuff, it's like it's all this hinting and almost getting there, but you never really get to the bottom of it, and left with sort of a, not a hopeless, but like you didn't really figure it all out kind of feeling, but that you got closer. And I don't know how regular people that aren't into the scene like feel about content like this. If they're just, I guess I can't know because I don't talk to those people that watch this stuff for regular these days. So I don't know what you would think after watching a show like this. That it was just quirky and entertaining and had an interesting plot, but that was I guess that's like the end of it. That was an interesting show. No, I really think there's mad truth here. But then again, I circle back. Is that like, well, is that it's obviously has all these elements. Is that specifically targeted at people like us to be like, right, a nod and a wink. We get it. You're totally right, dude. Because that's what they do to him. They're like, nah, it's a play. We know you know, and it's a play.
That's right. It's all made up. It's just a show. Just like this frame, you got red, you got green, you got white. Systematically, scientifically created to manipulate your mind. Damn, see, this is why I never stopped the playhead on my system, because when I stop the playhead, the drives spin down. The drive stops spinning. And then something like that happens. I drop a bunch of frames and then it like skips ahead. And I'm like, that's pretty fucking ghetto. What just happened right now? But that's okay. I think we still had a fun show. And I'm so glad you joined me on the show. I'm so glad you...
Shit, dog, damn fool. Oh man, yeah. Oh, nice. We got CJ Blaze in the house. What's up, CJ? How's it going? Are you having a good day, CJ? Or night? I guess it's nighttime in the States. Now, I'm still working up to it, but my concept has always been, in my deep heart for this show, my concept has always been that I do the first part alone. I get to ramble hardcore to the max on my TV shows and the news and all my other kind of weird theories about the nature of our reality, and that after that smashing sound moment there around the half an hour mark, that I would switch it over to you guys, and that we would talk about what you want to talk about. And if you had any sort of links, news articles, maybe things you want to send along, or just something you want to type in the chat, any sort of idea or concept that you're like, this is really important to me right now, I think this is critical in this moment, then we could have a discussion there, right? It's taken some time to build up this channel, but that was the hope. We got a little team here going, and we can talk about weird stuff together. So I'm just gonna play keys here for a little bit. We have a couple seconds till the next bumper, and I'm gonna just leave at least that much time. If anybody has any ideas or questions, something they think is critical in this moment. And Kim says it's buffering. I guess we got some buffering. Maybe because that's not what I'm supposed to do here. I'm not supposed to build a community. I'm not supposed to bring people together around a common issue, especially something as dangerous as the truth. CJ Blaze says, I think people need to look further into virology. What if viruses are not what we think? Well, I really agree with you there, CJ. I think we should get into that. Let's get into that real quick. But a bumper is about to happen. There's going to be a logo flashing, so I got to let that go. But yeah, it really is a big issue here. Let me pull up the internet here, because I did want to get into this bizarre story, right? Is that the internet? Can I get the full internet? And now I'm wondering if I can actually get the title of this video. I don't think it's going to show me the title of this video, right? This is something, and maybe the title is irrelevant. This is something that a powerful listener, a friend of the show, sent in to me, and I definitely wanted to check out this video And it had a lot to do with what you're talking about, CJ, about virology and the nature of this crisis, what's going on here. And yeah, it looks like this video has been removed for violating community guidelines. I guess they must have been saying something that was just, I don't know, really dark, organizing a terrorist cell or inciting violence or just, I don't know, threatening a major celebrity or something. What does get you removed from YouTube? Is it finally actually hitting on the truth and figuring out something that's real? Is that what gets you removed? Because, well, I guess I got to get close to the truth then if they haven't removed my videos yet. But there's a really scary thing going on now, though, right? Because I think we really do need to understand these concepts, these ideas, especially stuff that we don't necessarily get taught in school, or things that are just a baseline part of our understanding, like medicine and just the whole nature of sickness and all of that stuff. And that's the scary part now, right? Any sort of whisper or hint at the discussion or serious taking of alternative remedies or any of that kind of stuff, it's all getting called into question. And right, I was considering actually playing this video on this channel, but now it's been removed. And right, I'm guessing if I was going to be playing removed content on my channel, that would also point them towards me. And that's I think sort of it's rippling throughout the entire community right now, is right, desperately trying to get that information out there, something like virology, trying to get it out there. And well, they have all the means of production. They can tamp out anything that gets too far along or too close to the truth, right? And there's so many things that I've listened to, podcasts and videos that I've watched that just totally blew my mind wide open, right? I would highly encourage you to look into anything polio related if you can find the truth about that and the nature of the simian nonsense that was going on there, and how just ridiculous that was, and how they were just pumping everybody full of cancer basically knowingly, and that it was all sort of whitewashed after the fact. That well, yeah, I'm sure some of the things were contaminated, but it wasn't really the whole point, right? And then they can sort of reframe it after the fact. But I'll be the first to admit I don't understand all this kind of stuff. I don't know how viruses work and all of that. But what we're being encouraged now these days is to, especially if you aren't a full-on expert, that you can't talk about it. You should not be discussing things that you don't fully understand. Which is also just, again, right, that's the programming there. Again, it's like that's crazy talk. If you never talk about anything you don't fully grasp and understand, then you will never gain new knowledge. You will never push your mind forward. You'll never be able to figure this whole thing out. But that's exactly what is being discouraged right now, right? If you don't understand something, and the main thing that you don't understand these days right now is medicine and how it works, how diseases work, how they're spread. It's being told to you. It's being told to you on a regular basis, article by article. Everything from how far droplets fly to how this disease is passed along. But right, what are the chances that some of that information is also not correct or purposefully misleading that's coming from these large institutions? And because that's my other point. I've looked into and talked about a lot of things that I had no idea about, right? I didn't get trained in school for video editing and audio production and whatever else goes into the show, all this computer nonsense, file management, gain staging, all of that stuff. I did not go to school for any of that. does that mean I should have never looked into any of this? And because I wouldn't be able to do the show, or I wouldn't be able to do a lot of things that I do professionally these days if I hadn't gone searching for that knowledge that I wasn't an expert on. And a lot of that stuff now, yeah, I have become experts in many areas and can speak with authority on those things. Right, but what if I had followed the path that they're laying out for us here on with medical advice? If I had followed that same advice with technology stuff, right? Then I would still be at square one. I would be like, well, I guess I just better go on the internet and hire an editor for multiple hundreds of dollars to edit this video because well, I just don't understand. I don't know how that works. And maybe it's not a good direct comparison, right? Because I'm not gonna go out and start creating antiviral serums or any sort of like advanced medical, right? I just don't have the equipment, and that's a serious knowledge gap, I think, between me right now sitting in my apartment and creating actual breakthrough medical discoveries. That it's definitely a distance there, but at the same time, right? We are all people. We all have bodies. We are all alive here, and well, I think that gives you a vote and the right to figure out what is good for you, and the right to also talk about things that maybe you think is bad for you when other people say they're good for you, like I don't know, multivitamins, something like that. I don't know. Now, this other video I can show because it hasn't been taken down yet, and I'm just gonna full on risk playing some of this because I think it's definitely worth watching if you haven't seen it yet. This is weird as hell what Tom Hanks is saying here, and it's only a couple minutes, so let's just check it out.
I'm here to say congratulations. Congratulations to you chosen ones. And I am calling you the
Chosen ones
because you have been chosen in many ways. First, by the temperament and discipline you've lived by the creative fires that are inside of you and the instinctive lunges of your desires. There is something about you, all of you, in your upbringing and your background and your conscious memories and your ongoing mysteries, something that has driven you to complete your courses and achieve your selected challenges and cross the Rubicon of your time there, your studies at Wright State. You succeeded because of the aid and the love of others that are in your lives, without a doubt. But you have succeeded mostly because you and you alone chose to do so. You are the chosen ones. You are the chosen ones because of a fate unimagined when you began your Wright State adventures. You started in the olden times in the world back before the great pandemic of 2020. You will talk of those earlier years in your lives just that way. Well, that was back before the COVID-19. That was before the great pandemic. Part of your lives will forever be identified as before. In the same way other generations tell time like, well, that was before the war, or that was before the internet, or that was before Beyonce. The word before is going to carry great weight with you. Today you mark your graduation, which has come during the restructuring of time and of science, of our own national will, and of a worldwide commonwealth. You have finished Wright.
Wait, now I'm back. I'm going to cut it off right there. He's obviously reading from the script, right? This is a prepared statement, and who knows exactly who prepared it. That's the big question. I guess we should ask dispatches from elsewhere. Is he on the Scientology team, or is he on the Satanist team? It's hard to know with this guy, actually. He might be on both. He might be one of those top level dudes, but right, he's obviously reading this a statement. I don't know who he was reading it for, but Yeah, he obviously is in some sort of club that actually does know what's going on and is pushing this whole agenda forward, right? And he's saying it right there out in the open that, right, if this was all it was, if this was just a 2 months forced vacation where everybody went home and just hung out with their families for 2 months and then we all went back to work, that would not be the milestone marking event in your life that would change everything forever. It's going to have to be something a little more extreme than it already even is, right? Because he just said it right there that this is bringing in the full scale restructuring of our society from everything, right? Can we get the captions on actually?
Time and of science, of our own national will, and of a worldwide commonwealth. You have finished right state during, well, the Great Reset, the Great Reboot.
The Great Reset, the Great Reboot. I don't know how, I mean, this is very unambiguous language that he's using here. There's no way to misinterpret, I think, what he's hinting at. And, well, yeah, I mean, this is a super good video. Thanks, Kim, for sending this in. Yeah, Tom Hanks has always been giving us cryptic knowledge, straight direct from the source, wherever he's getting it from. And right, I don't want to be scared of this horrible winter that's coming towards us and these horrifying statements that he's making. But I think if you just completely ignore them, also that's not being super realistic. They're obviously planning on this restructuring, and right, if you just went from today, we're still fighting about Flynn and what's going on in the administration. We're not quite at that stage here. I wouldn't call it a great reset or a great reboot at this point in time, just yet. So, which means that there needs to be some more events, some more things added to the recipe here to push us onto that phase, right, where it really does become the great reset, the great reboot. This language, very powerful language.
Gone from student to graduate, when more has been expected of you than to just be an American, you have had to be responsible Americans. You've had to be good Americans. Good Americans who made the sacrifices that have saved lives. Now, you'll reference these past weeks, as for however many weeks there are yet to come, as during the pandemic, during the COVID-19, during the lockdown, the quarantine, during the shelter in place. Sometime, if we all remain good Americans, you will continue on into the after, as in that was after.
And is that a threat? That sounds like sorry, that sounds like a threat to me, right? If you're a good American, if you can behave yourself now in this new phase, right? Stay inside, don't spread the disease, that you will be rewarded for your rule following and just general good Samaritanness.
On into the after, as in that was after the virus was tamed. After we were safe to go out again, after we took up our probable lives once more. But your after is not going to look the same as your during or as your before. You will have seen the movie and you will know how it ends. You will be enlightened in ways your degree from right state never held in promise. You will have made it through the time of great sacrifice and great need, and no one will be more fresh to the task of restarting our measure of normalcy than you chosen ones.
I mean, yeah, it's becoming very clear to me now as we go through this, right? It's a culling that's happening, right? It's a culling of minds. Because some people aren't going to be able to handle this whole thing that's going down, right? I know I'm having a tough time stuck here in quarantine all alone. It's psychically damaging. It's very, very damaging. And there's some people that are going to come out of it basically just broken. They're not going to be able to properly take care of themselves or go outside and socialize. And basically, yeah, they're going to lose all of their adjustment. And I almost think that's the type of person that they're going to be welcoming into this new world. That's the type of person that they're hoping you will become, just completely sort of broken and ready to receive this new great reset / great reboot that they're talking about. Because if you are strong-willed, if you're holding on to your principles and your ideas, that's basically a problem, because he's saying it right here that that all of that's going to be gone, and that everything, the society that you came up in and that we knew only just a short couple months ago, it's donezo, it's gone, and it's not coming back. Well, is it true? I don't know. But Tom Hanks is saying it, so I guess we do have to take some form of credence with it. Chilling video. Right. You can look this up yourself. Tom Hanks says odd things. I would encourage you to also watch the rest of the video. But since I did do this whole thing here with CJ Blaze, and I appreciate you bringing up this topic about virology, right? I do want to look at, just if I can just pull up one last article before we head home here. Shock COVID kids, because this is sort of a trend that's been going around. I guess this is just from a day ago. Because CJ is saying viruses cause disease, right? Does mean dis-ease, like you're not at ease with yourself. Dis-ease of the cell. Maybe there are no viruses and only toxicities caused by the same immune response, which is what CJ says. I've also seen this talked about many different places. That the whole concept, the whole thing about getting sick and right in the Middle Ages, everybody thought that it was just some spirits. Some spirits would come and like infect you and get in your mind and get in your body, and those spirits would not let you go, and that's what ended up making you sick and dying, or possibly something else. And that's they had to bring the priest or some other sort of person to get that spirit out of there, right? And then we moved into the modern era, and we found out about the immune system and little tiny microbes and all these things that we can't see. And well, we found out that everything about those spirits was totally just lies and fake and garbage. And we were encouraged to laugh and ridicule this older generation. Which, right? How many times have you seen that tactic being employed in the modern era? So that instantly makes me pretty suspect to the whole thing in general, right? If we're supposed to ridicule and think people in the past were stupid, what purpose does that serve? That can't possibly be correct, right? But right. So but what are the chances that it's somewhere in between? Just like the dispatches from elsewhere is saying, that it's not team A or team B. It's team rocket ship. And you didn't even hear about the team, but it's over there, and that's the team to be on. And right, maybe that's what it is, that there's so many toxic, weird things in our environment. And I know, at least from personal experience, the only time that I get sick, like really, really sick, is when I'm totally stressed out and lose all of my defenses, right? And I guess, I don't know if this is coming back, or thinking about Tom Hanks now, it's saying that the old world is gone forever. But there was times in my old life where I would get crazy stressed out, not sleeping, just working like a crazy person. And in hindsight, I'm like, why was I doing that? That was, what did I get out of it? But those are the times that I would get sick, right? And then it would be hard to get better because you'd still have to keep working and not getting enough sleep and all those kind of things. And I would really feel it. It was like an imbalance. And I would almost be kind of grateful every time I did get sick, because it would give me a reset. It would give me a hard reset, and it would actually kill a lot of the anxieties that I was going through, depending on whatever was happening in my life at that moment. That the sickness would sort of tear through your body, right, and just get you into bed, or at least get you totally spaced out and taking some Sudafeds or whatever. And this would let that stress drain away from me. And it wasn't right. It wasn't until after that stress had drained away, and I had finally realized how ridiculous I was being, that I was able to reset, right, and to get better, and that then I would come back stronger. And well, obviously, yeah, the sickness sort of lingers for often many weeks or months, and can kind of drag you down that way. And that's another sort of strange aspect to getting sick. And well, I can't say for certain that I've had the virus, the big one. Although I can almost suspect that I did, because I was working on a project, and the whole project got very sick. We were all just having a real tough time, and this was a weird, sort of bizarrely feverish. It wasn't like any of the other sort of illnesses that I've had before. And yeah, basically everybody on the project also had the same thing, and we were all having a pretty rough time, missing days and doing all that kind of stuff. But we worked through it, and we got on to the next phase, and it was okay, right? But is this that, or is that this? And yeah, I tend to think also, and right, maybe it is just because I'm running this this bizarre channel, and I do think there's spaceships in the sky, and lies and truth everywhere you see and look. Right, my brain is obviously like damaged in multiple ways, but I'm coming back around to almost, right, like you're saying, CJ, like back to the Middle Ages style of things, where it's almost like there are these spirits. They're spirits, and that's what the news and all of this is sort of helping create, is the specter, this giant ghost grim reaper image of the virus, like just ripping around the world. And right, I wonder how many people have, like, just sitting at home psychosomatically induced a lot of these symptoms, and possibly even the virus itself, just by thinking about it too much, basically. And right, we're really not supposed to talk. There's so many things we're not supposed to talk about, but we're not supposed to talk about how electromagnetic radiation plays any role in our health. That is not something we are allowed to talk about. Electromagnetic radiation has no effect whatsoever on the human body. It is just completely unrelated, and yeah, nobody has ever, no single cell in the history of humankind has ever been damaged by a flying wave of you know what I'm saying. That's never ever happened. And now, yeah, I guess my show's kind of cutting me off, and I tend to agree with it. It's we should probably move on so we can have enough energy for the next show, because I want to keep getting on here with you guys. It's good to hang out with you guys. It's totally good to hang out with you guys. But that's just one thing I was thinking about, right? Like, what virus have you ever heard about giving people Kawasaki, like, toxic shock syndromes, right? That's something that comes from a toxic environment. That's something that happens. This is not a disease like thing, right? But up to 100, there's a bunch of people actually getting kids getting toxic shock from the virus? That doesn't make any sense to me. Oh damn! Is this bumper moved off? Is this? I didn't get an image there. Damn dog. I guess I haven't used this like final bumper in a little while. Anyways, I'm gonna jump off here. But I appreciate see, I mean, you just got to put that energy out there in the world, right, Kim? We started off as we had a little slow start here. It was just you and me, Kim. But I put that energy out there in the world, like, we should talk, you know? Let's have a conversation. Let's really work this out in this toxic environment. Nice one, CJ, that we are living in. And now all of a sudden we got a bunch of people in here. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for interacting and being part of the show. Because I guess I'm technically hitting the buttons here, but you guys are as much of a part of the show as I am, I would like to think. So I hope you guys have a good night. I'm gonna hit that button. See you soon.